good to see you. Now, if you recall last week, we took a hard look at the possibility that animals, hell, they just might have souls. Now, this week, we're digging into a classic, and I'm calling this week's episode, What's the Deal with Adam Needing a Companion? I'm reading now from Genesis 2, 8 through 17. Now, the Lord God had planted a garden in the east, in Eden, and there he put man that he had formed. And the Lord God made all kinds of trees grow out of the ground, trees that were pleasing to the eye and good for food. In the middle of the garden were the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. A river watering the garden flowed from Eden. From there it was separated into 4 headwaters. The name of the first was the Pishon. It winds through the entire land of Havilah, where there is gold. The gold of that land is good. Aromatic resin and onyx are also there. The name of the second river is the Gihon. It winds through the entire land of Cush. The name of the third river is the Tigris. It runs along the east side of Ashur. And the fourth river, well, that's the Euphrates. Now all of these rivers existed and flowed out of the area of Mesopotamia. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to take care of it. And the Lord God commanded the man, "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. For when you eat from it, you will certainly die." The Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make him a helper, suitable for him." Now the Lord God had formed out of the ground all the wild animals and all the birds of the sky. He brought them to the man to see what he would name them. And whatever the man called each living creature, that was its name. So the man gave names to all the livestock, the birds in the sky, and all the wild animals. But for Adam, no suitable helper was found. So you see that there? It's like I told you last week. The animals were made to be companions for Adam. But he just didn't warm up to them. So God decided to make Eve. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. And while he was sleeping, he took one of the man's ribs and then closed up the place with flesh. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib that he had taken out of the man. And he brought her to the man, and the man said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. Okay, now this passage, well, it tends to upset non-believers. They see this as a total contradiction of sequences of events. During creation, for instance, it's clear in Genesis 1 that trees and plants were created before mankind. Then on the 6th day, God created Adam. But then it talks about Adam's creation here in Genesis 2. Now there are a number of other developments that non-believers see as biblical contradictions. But here's the deal. If you read the newspaper or a short story, it invariably starts with a short synopsis of the topic, and then it's followed up with the details of the story. Well, it's the same deal here. Look at man and woman were created on day 6. Then the details of that event are recorded in Genesis 2. That seems pretty obvious to me, but these objections reminded me of the time that the apostles asked Jesus why he teaches with parables. Now that was in Matthew 13:11. "To you it has been granted to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been granted. For whoever has, to him more shall be given, and he will have an abundance. But whoever does not have, even what he has shall be taken from him. Therefore I speak to them in parables, because while seeing they do not see, and while hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand." Now throughout Creation Week, we see a theme of preparation of provisions, making it clear that everything has been thoughtfully arranged for the welfare and the enjoyment of mankind. But this is just the calm before the storm. It's our last glimpse of the world before it's ravaged by human sin and death, disobedience, all because of Adam and Eve. And that there is when trouble soon began. Now that'll be in chapter 3 next week.